So today's workout is a beginner intermediate class. Katie's my lovely participant, and we're going to be using the foam roller. But if you don't have the foam roller, we're going to give you options of what you can do without. So that's totally cool. So we're going to start in standing. So if you guys are ready. And we're just going to come into just a little rise and lower with the feet. So just get your pelvis actually just swaying a little bit back and forth before you go into the rise and fall. So you can put your hands on your belly if that's appropriate to you. And just let your weight fall forward and fall back. And just kind of notice the texture in your belly. So as you go forward, it might feel like the belly just lets go a little bit. And as your weight goes back, the belly kind of comes back and retracts a little bit into the spine. And then just find that nice balance point where we're kind of in the center of the feet and the pelvis is stacked over the legs. And just get this sense of space going right up through the body. So get a sense that there's space in the ankles, space in the knees, space in the hips, all the way up the spine and to the head. And then I want you to just see if you can rise up onto the toes, keeping that lift through the body, and roll through the feet, send the heels backwards. Good, rising up, pressing the floor away. And if you need some support here, you can put your hands on the wall nearby and use the wall for support. Or if you do have a foam roller that's just quite nice, then you can just hold the foam roller in front and do a little rise and fall. What I want Katie to feel is that she's reaching her heels backwards in space, not just dropping the heels down. Okay, feeling a little sense of lift through the center of the body, through the inner thighs to the head, and then feeling like your heels are getting longer, reaching back. So you should be starting to feel the calves and hamstrings now. Let's go one more. Really feel the big toe. Now stay there, everyone. See if we can lift the baby toes a little bit, or even think about lifting the baby toes, and feel the pelvis tilting a little bit up at the same time. Ooh. And then roll back down, reaching the heels. So let's do that one more time as we roll up. Feel like you're rolling almost into the big toes, lifting the baby toes as if they're going to come off the floor. Tilt the pelvis up a little bit and then roll back down. Good, and just have a little shake back. Good, separate your feet a little bit. So maybe if Katie faces this way. And we're just going to go into a little squat pattern. Now I want you to just start really lightly. So we're going to let the arms swing back and we're going to go into a little squat pattern, really focusing in on your hips and feeling like your deep abdominals just stay nicely connected. And then we're going to push the ground away and come up and the arms just come to shoulder height. So coming down, really sinking the legs as if they're falling into the hips and then come back up. And if Katie turns to the side and hopefully it looks beautiful. And down, good. So I want the sense that the legs, instead of pushing forward into the knees, are almost sinking back into the hips. Good, and come back up. Nice job. Let's just do 3 more. And really feel those heels reaching back like we felt in that calf raise. So we're just warming up things a little bit, getting the blood pumping. Good, and up. Lovely, one more time. Sorry if I don't count very well. And up, lovely. Now, if you've got that roller, that's great. If not, just test your balance without. I'm going to get Katie to step her right leg back, and she's going to have her hands on the roller. Again, if you want to use the wall, probably better with a little countertop or something that you can hold on to at that level. But if not, just hands on your hips or hands out in front. So I'm going to get Katie to tip the roller forward as her leg comes up behind. So we're going to do a little stork tilt. Lovely. We did this the other day. And I just want you to feel that you're bending your pelvis over your standing leg. Good. And then come back up and either just tap the foot down, or if you really want to challenge it, take the leg and float it up and balance a little bit taller, pressing the standing leg away. So we come through. If you want to tap in the middle before you go back, and as the roller tips forward, we're just having that nice little counter lever. Good. Woo, and come up. You can just tap here, or you can go all the way up. And again, let's go 4 of these. So we got 2 more left. And just feel as you tip forward, there's those deep abdominals still on. And up we go. Good, lovely. And one more time. Excellent. And lift. Hopefully we feel that, that standing leg working. Have a little shake out. Cool. And feel the other side. Katie already did this the other day. We're going to be super fit doing these little lives. Okay, so nice and tall. Think of lifting up and feeling that space. And then as you tip. So I really want you guys to feel the space in the front of the hip. Okay, so where the leg meets the pelvis. Don't feel you have to go super far. And you can see that lovely nice line that Katie's making here. So we want to make sure we're not rounding the upper back as we do it. And you don't have to do the knee option. You can just go to here and really feel that you're reaching from your hip through your knee to your foot on that back leg. And then coming up and just step or lift. Good. And 2 more here. Notice the difference in sides. How are we feeling with that? And back up. Good. Nice and tall through the center body. And 1 more time. Looking very beautiful, Katie. Lovely. And up we go. Last time, nice and lifted, standing through the standing leg. And then release and shake it all out. Now we're just going to come down onto all fours. So coming onto your mat, so your carpet, so wherever you are. I'm just checking in. We are all okay. Everyone okay? You can hear us all right?
Yeah, really good.
Okay, awesome. So I just want to have a little pandiculation. So I just want you guys to have a good old wriggle around and just kind of feel what might feel tight, stiff, uncomfortable. We're very stressed right now, so we might be holding tension in lots of areas of the body. And don't be afraid to go outside of that kind of quadruped as Katie's doing, kind of going around, going forward, and just kind of assess where we might have this stickiness and restriction. And then just kind of settle into your tissue. So your hands are right below your armpits and your knees are below your hips. And we're just kind of springing out of the floor. It's almost like you're lifting away from the ground. And I want you to go into a little gentle cat stretch. I want you to focus in on the pelvis rounding and actually the back of the neck. So almost going through that mid-back, upper back, so we're not putting too much emphasis in there. So distributing the load all the way through the spine. And you can feel that the limbs are kind of pressing a little bit more down. Then as we go back up the other way, there's a lightness through the limbs, almost like the legs are sucking into the socket and the arms are almost lifting off the ground. Good, and I want to sense that we're not dropping the ribs, but we're lengthening through the front. So on the cat stretch, I want you to think that you open the space through the back of the spine, taking note that we tend to work way too much here. So we're going to kind of skip by that and really feel low back and neck. And then the other way, so I want to kind of think of the front of the vertebrae opening up. So feeling space in the front, because we tend to think the back in the back. Yeah? That was not much nicer. Okay, so opening up the back of the vertebrae. Good. So I want to feel a little bit more emphasis here. Almost skip by there and then go here. And then as I go the other way, I'm thinking through the front of the body. So feel like the vertebrae almost opening through the front. Lovely. And then come back to where it feels neutral. Now I've got the luxury here of having the roller, so I can assess here where Katie is. So what I want you to feel in neutral here is that the front of the hips are slightly dropped and almost feeling heavy. And I know that's going to feel like you're very hyperextended, but we want to feel that crease where the leg meets the pelvis. Feel your deep belly just surrender up towards the spine a little bit, and your ribs connect, and then lengthen through your upper back. Good, and feel like your shoulders are just on your back. Okay, now stay there. See if we can just lift one arm off the ground. It doesn't need to go forward, just a little bit off the floor. Perfect, and then come back down. And exhale the other side. So nothing big. And good. And one more. Good, rest at any time. Now she's going to keep her arms straight doing this. Okay, so it's going to be more of a march into the shoulder, but she's going to keep it vertical underneath her. So not forward, it's going to be a march into the ground, but with straight. Yes, that's the one. Okay, so now I want to see her shoulder blades moving so that one shoulder blade is going down, one shoulder blade is going up. So she's marching with her upper body. And we should feel some core. Yes?
Yes, definitely.
Good. Keep the length. Just do one more and then have a break for your wrists. Okay, now I'm going to try and do that march with the lower half. Okay, if you're feeling a little bit uncomfortable through the wrist for this part, you could put your hands on the roller or just ease out of it, give it some stretch. So you could put your hands there and there's a little bit less pressure on the wrists. Okay, so we're going to come back into that neutral position. So where the front of the hips are a little bit heavy, and I know that feels hyperextended, and Katie's going to draw back her abdominals gently, not too much, and then connect the ribs, lengthen the upper back. Okay, so she's really almost going beyond her arms. Now, our arms are going to stay still, tucking the toes as she is. She's going to let one leg kind of melt down into the floor, and the other leg is going to almost suck up into the air. But I want you to keep your foot down for this, okay? So, yeah. So one leg is kind of pressing down, the other knee is coming up. So there's a little bit of space under there. It's hard to see in this light. Okay, so she's kind of going down with one leg and then up with the other. It's almost like it's sucking into the hip. Is that what it feels like?
Yeah.
Okay. And one more in each, and just make sure we don't let go of the ribs or those deep abdominals. And then just have a rest again. You know what's coming. We're going to put it together. Okay. So this is really nice for connecting into our spirals through our spine. Okay, so we're going to find that nice neutral. Hips heavy, deep abdominals in. We want to feel like 25%, not a big brace. Good. Ribs and length. Okay, so we're going to start. We've got to think about this a little bit. We're going to go right arm pressing into the floor. Left arm comes up. And the opposite leg, you should already feel which leg wants to push down. Yes, good. And then come back. Okay, so we're going to really connect into the left arm and then right knee. Yes, and then the other limbs come off. So really focus on the ones that are going down into the floor. So right hand, left knee. Good, keep that connection. One more on each side. We feeling those obliques?
Oh, yes.
Good, doesn't look like much. If we keep that position, really great. Awesome. And then just have a rest. Nice job. Hopefully you felt that one.
I did. The obliques.
Okay, so if you have a foam roller, I want you guys to lie on that. If you don't have a foam roller, that's fine. You can do this without. So you just lie on the mat as you would do. Okay, but the foam roller, if you don't have, it's on our equipment list for our workout. So I would recommend getting a long full length roller because it is quite helpful even just to restore the spine, especially if we're very stressed and out of alignment, then this can be a good option just to even settle here. You know, just to come in and have 5 minutes of breath can be really powerful. If at any point you don't feel comfortable on the roller, you can do all of this on the mat, okay? So don't feel that you're missing out. Do you want a headlock? Are you okay? Yeah, okay. You don't have to have a fancy headlock, just a little towel rolled up is fine. So I just want Katie to start to begin to roll her pelvis a little bit. Let's just take a bit of breath here and just to notice how you're aligned either on your roller or on your mat. So before we do the pelvic tilts, let's just kind of breathe and settle. And I kind of want you to breathe, just kind of being aware of everything that's kind of making contact with the floor. So maybe we'll start with the feet and just kind of breathe and notice your foot position, how your heels, your toes, the arches of the foot feel, just as you breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. So just kind of noticing your feet and coming up to your knees and to your hips, and maybe notice how the hips are sinking or the legs are sinking into your hips. And if your pelvis is on the roller or on the floor, you might notice that one side is heavier than the other. Are you really in the middle, and does your pelvis feel very narrow, or does it feel quite wide and spread out on the floor or on the floor? Okay, take your breath and come up to your rib cage and notice how it's laying on the floor. Okay, are the back ribs settled? Are they lifted? Is one side of you feeling a little bit more on the roller than the other, or one side on the mat more than the other? And you can really notice on the roller your shoulder blades, okay? So feel how your shoulder blades are sitting or how your arms are sitting, and where we can find that place of space. And the hard thing on the roller is the shoulders want to just collapse around. So we just kind of want to feel that they're flush on the back. And then just be aware of your head. So with all those nice contact points, I want you to start to roll your pelvis upwards as you exhale and roll downwards as you inhale. And roll up and feel the halves of the pelvis rolling. So instead of thinking of the spine pressing or maybe your tail going up, I want you to think of the halves of your pelvis rolling and rolling back the other way. Okay, so we're thinking the sacrum in the middle on the roller or on the floor, and then the two halves nicely, beautifully rolling. And then find where you feel neutral. Good, yeah? And now we're gonna feel like one half of the pelvis is sinking a little bit more into the mat or around your roller. Inhale as you come back to center, and exhale, let the other half sink. I like to think of this as weight in my abdomen. So rather than pushing or forcing it, we feel almost like it's a scale. So there's a little bit more weight on one side, sinking. Maybe you can think it's a little bit warmer on that side. So there's a bit more warmth on that half and a bit cooler on the other side. And just notice how it rotates. Is it rotating really balanced, or is there one side that's more dominant? There's a difference in sides, is it okay?
Yeah, this feels tighter. Yeah.
So if you've noticed that, then just go a little bit more to the stickier side and just hang out there a little bit. Maybe kind of feel the diagonal from your opposite rib cage across. Maybe feel a sense of melting over there. Don't force it, but just kind of be aware and then bring it back to level. If you are fairly level, just do a few more rocks side to side. But if you feel a sticky side, sometimes just letting it hang, letting it go, maybe feeling if there's restrictions around the hip or the back of the body, that we can just breathe into it. Yeah. Okay, and then come back to center. Lovely. I want to just wake up the shoulder blades a little bit here. So I want the angle of the arms to be slightly more forward here, okay, so that we can emphasize more the bottom of the shoulder blade movement. So I want you to glide the shoulder blades apart, protracting, and then glide them back to your roller or your mat. Good. So I want you to feel like you've spread out your shoulder blades across your back, and then almost spread the collarbones out to bring the shoulder blades back. Don't force either of them, kind of feel just the gliding movement, and back. So glide as much apart as you can feel before the front of the shoulder starts to take over, okay, because the front of the arm will try and pull. And then go as far back as you feel before the ribs start lifting. So it becomes a much smaller, more deep feeling. Good. Now alternate, so kind of like we did with the marches in all fours, and feel the mat. If you're on the mat, really feel one shoulder blade is connecting to the mat, one shoulder blade is coming away. And you should feel, if you're moving from the right parts, that your trunk is rotating. Yeah, lovely little. Now you might then be challenged with your pelvis if you are on the roller, or you might just feel the pelvis responding on the floor. And that's cool, because there might be a little bit of spiral.
Could you bend the retracting one slightly?
Yeah, totally. So we can bend the elbow as it comes down. Let's see that. So the one coming down could bend. And if you are kind of at the floor, it's quite nice to kind of make contact with the floor with your elbow as the other one is coming up. Yeah, so imagine if you are on the roller, you're making contact with that mat beside you and the other. And that might engage a little bit more of your obliques. Yeah? Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for that. And then release the arms down. Awesome. So what I want to do is just a little leg fall out. Okay. So I want you to keep your pelvis really still. Make sure your feet are in line with your sitting bones. And I want you to drop slowly your right leg out to the side and be aware. Yeah, it's all right. The left side of the pelvis is going to stay heavy. It's quite helpful if you're on the mat to put your hands underneath your sacrum and really feel as that right leg drops that your left side doesn't come off the ground and then come back up. What I like to do is do a little exhale and feel the tipping point. So you'll feel as the left leg now comes out, you'll feel when the right side starts to lift. Yeah, stay there, take a breath. See if you can give more weight to your right pelvis and just release the leg a little bit more. Yeah, even if it's just like a little micro movement. Yeah, and if you did have a third breath, you could do it there. What I don't want to see is just a drop, just show the drop, like bleh. Okay, so it's a really passive action. So go again on the right. So the right side starts to rotate. We're kind of thinking of it rotating in the hip. and the left half of the pelvis is staying really heavy. And then I take kind of a second breath to deepen that stability. Yeah, and then come back up. I always like to think of the ball in the socket rather than the knees opening. Yeah, so it's a little spiral pattern. Yeah, so that's the kind of action in the femur. Yeah, and almost like the leg is deeper.
Yeah.
Yes, it almost goes in more as it turns out, because our tendency is to pull with the outside hip. So let's just do one more on each side. Yeah, it's hard on the roller. Good, and kind of feel like it's deeper into the hip without hitching. Yeah, so we've got to watch that we don't kind of hitch up the side. It's actually, for a simple exercise, it's quite challenging. Yeah, okay, so one more time on your left side. And again, if you've got those hands underneath your pelvis on the floor, really, really helpful for feedback, so you can kind of really see where you are in space. Awesome. Okay, we're gonna do one more here. Again, you can do this without the roller, it's totally fine. So Katie's gonna lift, actually I'm gonna send more weight into the supporting side. So let's feel a little bit of our right arm and our left foot just meet the mat, okay? So right arm, right hand, left foot. And let the floating sides come up. So we're gonna go tabletop and arm lift, okay? And then come back down. Now I want to make sure that your pelvis doesn't move side to side as you do this. So whether you're on the mat or here, I would say it's a little bit more challenging on the roller. Good, so we're melting into the right arm and the left foot. I want to feel the stability first, the pelvis heavy, and then arc back down. Good, so we're staying on this side. We'll do two more. Really feel the leg folding into the hip, so you're kind of light through the front of the hip. Okay, so no angry hip flexors. And back down. Good, lovely. One more time. I think that's 4.
That is 4.
Yeah. Okay, so feel that connection to your deep abdominals and then lower back down. Good, awesome. So let's feel the other side. So left hand, right foot, and kind of make that connection. You might already notice that things feel different. Yeah, okay, so you might find that either your hand is tensing or your shoulder might be trying to participate, or your pelvis just doesn't quite stay in the middle. Yeah, so I want you to really challenge your stability. If you feel like you're even moving a fraction, really melt into the sacrum, kind of widen it on your mat. Let it feel heavier into the surface that you're on. Yeah, good. Does look very different on this side. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so if we have a hitch or a twist in the pelvis, then we're going to be really challenged when we do these opposites. Okay, one more time. Good, so I might do more on my weaker side if I was doing this in my own practice, or just really trying to identify what might be restricting that movement. All right, I'm going to get Katie to come off of her back. Lovely. So let's go into just lying completely flat, and we're going to interlace the fingers and put the hands behind the head. So we're going to do a little basic chest lift. If you normally use a head block, I would make sure that you have the head block underneath. And also if you tend to pop out the ribs a little bit, so if you find that the ribs are a little bit lifted, having a little bit of lock behind does help you kind of drop into the ribs a little bit, okay? So I want Katie, which she's doing lovely, to hold her head. If you have your elbows out to the side, you can't really hold the weight of the head and the ribs start coming up. So if you just lift your head a little bit off the ground and feel its weight, you'll find that the girdle of your shoulders, your arms, and your head are all connected, yeah? So just imagine that I'm doing this with you at home. Take a nice breath in, and I want you to lengthen the back of the neck and just slowly start to peel up your upper back. So kind of think of the vertebrae right below your neck, just slowly starting to come up. And if you start feeling the head going forward, then just pause there and then just come down, okay? So the tendency is for us to push the head forward, okay? So what I want you guys to feel is like your head is almost dropping back and the back of the neck is lengthening. And I might cue just your first rib, your second rib, your third rib, really melting down. Okay, so it doesn't look like a big lift, but Katie's working hard here.
Oh, yes.
Okay, and come back. If you find that your pelvis does a lot of work, put one leg down. Awesome. Okay, so now the pelvis can't get in the way. Let your back ribs melt into the mat, lengthen as if your head is going out this way. Yeah, Katie went a little bit further that time. and then come back, and then you switch legs, see how it feels with the other leg down. So this is if you tend to tuck the pelvis under a little bit too much. Okay, so I want to feel kind of first rib, second rib, third rib. Yeah, good, good, good. So it's a really big stretch kind of through the back of the spine. Okay, and release. Good, and then do both legs. So you can either keep them bent here, or if you're strong enough to come into tabletop. Lovely. Okay, and then she's going to do the same thing here. Exhale up. Good, and then I want you to reach your hands to your knees. So reach, 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 reach. Good, then back to the head, and then roll back down. Good, show the feet down version. Okay, so we're going to take a breath in. We're going to exhale, feel the length going this way. First, second, third rib, fourth. Good, and then Katie's going to reach her hands to her thighs. Lovely. Back to the head. That might feel a little bit vulnerable for the neck. And then come back. So if it's too much to reach, just stay there and breathe. Let's do one more in whatever version feels good for you. And up we go. Good, good, good. And then reach. Good. So we just get even just a little bit more length there. And then back behind the head and return back down. Good. Awesome. Then Katie's going to grab her legs. We did this the other day. Our little assisted roll up. Okay. So you're going to hold behind your knees. We've done that little bit of chest lift now, so we can kind of use that to create the first part of the movement. So exhale as you roll up and use the legs a little bit of soft elbows. And then she's going to use the lever of her legs exactly to come up. Now, if you get stuck, don't worry. Okay, we'll show you the stuck version. Okay, and then roll back down gently, but just balance there for a moment where you feel your legs. Okay, and you almost want to feel like your legs are lifting up a little bit to roll your pelvis back. So feel like you're almost sending the legs up to the sky as the pelvis falls away from them. Yes, good. Lovely. Little inhale. So I'm going to show the stuck version. Yeah. So if you get stuck, stay there. Try not to force yourself. You can rock a little bit. You can breathe, and just you might be able to walk up a little bit more. If not, then you roll right over onto your side and cheat and sit up. And then you can work on the coming down, because actually the coming down can be quite good to strengthen. Okay, so then roll, and we feel like the legs are almost lifting out of the hips. Roll the pelvis soft, deep abdominals. So I don't want to brace and work too hard here. Awesome. Okay, and then coming up. So use the leg as a lever. Good. I want to make sure I'm not over tensing. I'm just allowing those legs to come up. Can you do one more? Good. Nice, nice, nice. Yeah. Good. Excellent. Don't be afraid to like really get the flesh of your hands into the flesh of your thighs. Little bend of the elbows and up we go. That's probably about it. Excellent. We're going to roll onto your front. Okay. So I'm going to go into a little W position with the elbows. And I just want you guys to just feel your pelvis position on the mat. Have a good little wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Okay. I actually might do something different here. So what I'd like to do is actually see our movement in the upper back. And then we're going to do a little play and then see if our movement gets better. Okay. So keeping the pelvis lengthened a little bit so that the sacrum is kind of down towards the feet. I want Katie to just start to peel up the upper back. So lengthening through the front, peeling the ribs out and up, peeling the chest forward. Yeah, and just feeling like the belly lengthens you up there and then come back down. So just upper back. Okay, we want to keep the low back nice and lengthened. Yeah, our deep belly on. So we don't want to brace too much or else we're not going to move. And if we let go completely, we're going to go hinging into the back. So it's that fine line. Good. So Kate's just going to notice how that feels. Yeah, hands kind of by your ears. Try not to have the hands too high. Good. Awesome. Lovely. And then release. Okay, so just feel where you went there, maybe how sticky it felt. Then put your hands under your head. Okay, and this is kind of a little primal crawl pattern. So Katie's going to turn out her right leg, so outwardly, bend the knee, and you're going to slide it up. Yeah, so she's going to go to here, and she's going to push so that her big toe can kind of almost push her forward a little bit. Yeah, so she's going to get to that. and then come back. And then do the other side. So there's a little rotation in the hip, push so that she almost feels like she can go up. So that's where you want to get the foot, and then come down. Just do a few of those. So rotating the pelvis, flying out. Don't over shove it. You don't need to kind of grip into the hips too much.
That's really nice on the hip.
Yep, very nice for the sacrum. So your sacrum gets a little bit locked. And it doesn't need to be a big push. You know, it's just to really get the toe into the position that a baby would start to learn to crawl. Okay, now this time, your mom and dad are behind you as a baby. So when you turn that leg outwards, you're going to look behind you to that side. Here we go. Hello.
Hi, Mom.
And then you go the other way. So just let your chest kind of look up and look over, as if you were kind of figuring out where you were going in the room, or suddenly you heard a noise over there and you want to kind of look at it. So this is very much what how babies kind of learn to crawl, and then they would start to push themselves up. Exactly. Okay, so just do one more on each side. Just listen to your body, don't over force it, but it should feel quite nice. Yeah, good. Yeah. So this is getting into our spirals. And one more time. Good. Okay, now Katie's going to come back to that W position. And without really thinking too much about it, now just move that upper back.
That's better.
So much freer. And so what we find is that as we actually unwind the system, then we can come into extensions. And that just looks so much freer. I don't have to cue her that much.
That feels really easy and light now.
Yeah, and that's what we should feel. It feels like it just goes out and up. But often we're holding so much tension. Yeah, that looks beautiful. One more if you want.
Yeah, I do want.
Yeah. Love it. She's going to steal that from me now.
I am totally. Sorry, it's videoed that you got there first.
Yeah. Okay, and then shell stretch back. Good, awesome. Just a quick check-in. Oh, we've got a few more people. How we doing? How was that exercise? How did you feel doing that?
Really good. Great.
Yeah, did that feel? Did you feel like you got more movement after?
Yeah, I love the baby crawling stretch. That felt great.
Oh, awesome. Everything feeling okay? Do you guys have foam rollers?
No.
Okay, so you're just doing it on the mat. So it might be good if you guys are going to follow the lives just to get a foam roller so you can do some of this stuff. And you can always watch this after and follow along. So we're going to do a little bit of side stuff. All right, we'll have, so we've got about eight minutes left. We're going to go till 1:15 and finish off with a bang.
You didn't about that.
Sorry. Okay, so we're gonna go.
Hold on.
Yeah, side lying. Yeah, sorry guys. Okay, so we're going to actually go. Yeah, starting with the knees bend. We did this the other day. What I'd like to do is to have the front leg already kind of ready to go out in front. So I'm gonna have the bottom leg bent, and just have this leg kind of resting a little bit in front of the hip, so we're in hip flexion. And you can decide whether you want this bottom leg bent or whether you want it straight out in front with this leg, okay? So totally up to you. So I want you to press into the bottom leg, let this top leg come up, good, and then swing it backwards. And I want you to reach your arm that's on the floor forward just a little bit. So we kind of feel the bum. Yeah, and then come back forward, hand goes to the ground. Now I can kick this a little bit more potentially, okay? And then come back, reach the arm. Yeah, good. So just be aware, watch we don't over flare the ribs. So hand goes to the ground, I'm kind of making that contact with here and here. And then a little bit of 12 with the pelvis as the leg goes back, good. Yeah, try more. I'm gonna do this slightly different with Katie. I'm gonna go more forward this way, okay? Yeah, as it goes back. Yeah, ribs connected, lovely. Inhale. That's it, so the elbows going back and then forward. Yeah, that's better for your ribs. Yeah. Okay, so elbow goes back as the leg goes forward. Good, we're almost feeling the hamstrings and lengthen it back. Good, one more time, so we should be feeling our glutes.
Yes.
And reach. Lovely. And yeah, definitely. Okay, so one more time. And then as the arm goes forward, ribs go back. Yeah, much better connected. Yeah, lovely. And release. Okay, let's switch around to the other side. I'm going to give you the side kick kneeling challenge. Get ready, guys.
I just want to see me fall over.
Okay, so we're pressing into the bottom leg, letting this top leg go up, and then exhale the leg back, reach the arm forward. Good, and then the elbow comes back as the leg goes in front. We're dorsiflexing the ankles, really feel the resistance. I always like to feel like I'm in water doing this, like I'm really pushing through the air. Yeah, and then resisting. How would that feel if we were underwater doing this? Yeah, so really making your own resistance. You could do this with a band if you wanted to, if you had it attached somewhere, that would be quite nice. Good. And just feel space in your joints. Could you feel more space in your hips and knees and ankles as you're doing this?
Feels nice.
Nice, yeah. Good, so as soon as I kind of think of where the movement's happening, and can I find the space there? Good. One more time. I have no idea how many we did on the other side.
Feels about right.
Yeah.
Feels about right.
And out. Good, lovely. And then come back in. So we're going to try and do that action in kneeling. It's kind of an intermediate advanced exercise, but hey, let's challenge it. So rollers are really helpful to do for this, or if you need some props to put your hand under, so maybe just a few stacks of books or something. But as you go over to the side, we want the leg out to the side. So maybe go to the first leg that you did. Yeah. Okay, just so that we haven't got a double whammy on the same leg. Okay. Yeah, you don't have to use the roller, but it just makes us not collapse so much over. Okay, so we're going to take a nice little windmill over. Okay, send the leg out. Now, this is going to be a challenge on the roller to stabilize through the shoulder. But if you've got the floor, if you don't have the roller, let me just show. So we don't want to be too compressed under here. So prop yourself up as needed. Okay, because otherwise it's going to feel even harder. Okay, so we're going to do the same arm action. So I'm going to bend the elbow down by your side. You're going to lift the leg up a little bit. Okay, yeah, you decide how high that goes. And then as the leg goes back, your arm goes forward. And inhale, it kicks forward as your elbow goes back. What do we say? 6 of these, 5 of these, that's 2. We'll see how Katie copes and she can tell me how many. 3. Good. Inhale, kick it forward. 4. 5, can we manage?
Yes, we can do 5.
Yeah, we do one more, let's do 6.
Yeah.
And reach. And then release. Good, well done. Whew. Other side. We're nice and hot in here. Hopefully you're getting warm. Okay, last one over. And leg out. Awesome. So really keep length through the trunk. Okay, so we don't want to collapse into that underside. So really feel the energy there. And inhale forward with the leg, exhale back. Good, so reaching the arm. If it's too much with the arm, you can have it at your head, but it's quite nice to have the opposites. Do you feel?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and it stops the ribs from flaring.
Yeah.
So at the same time, I want Katie to go this way as she's thinking about the legs. And I don't know how many that is. Is that 4? Yeah. Good, a little bit more 12 as the leg goes back. So a little bit of pelvic tilt. Yes, we don't go into hyperextension. And there, that was better. And release. Good, well done. So if you have something just to release a little bit into your bum, the roller is quite good if we sit on the roller. Or if you've got a little lacrosse ball or a medicine ball, and then we can just cross the leg over, lean a little bit into that right side. Or if you just want to lie on your back and do a little active, so I'll let Katie go there. So you could do a little active lift and lower and lift. But that's quite nice on the roller. And it's quite nice if you've got a little lacrosse ball that you can kind of get into your butt tissue. So just do a little bit of release on each side. And then switch sides. I need a little bit of this
It's
week.
quite nice after those last 2 exercises.
Yeah. Because you do tend to work a lot of sometimes the bum muscles that don't need to work. And yeah, we're not very good at our bum stuff. You know what I haven't done is bridge.
Oh,
But I don't know if I want to finish with bridge. It's not a very nice one to finish with. I might actually do a little plank finish.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys okay finishing with a little plank? Awesome. So we're going to come from our quadruped position, and then we're going to come down into a kneeling plank that I think is a really good core exercise. We've done some thoracic extension, we've worked our pelvis a little bit, I think we've worked every part of the body, maybe except, we did rotations at the beginning, so that's good. Okay, so let's go back into that quadruped. So the front of the hips a little bit heavy. She's getting there already, well done. Okay, rib cage and length. Then she's going to walk her hands forward along the mat, trying to keep the integrity of the trunk, which is really, really hard, until the elbows can come down. So you kind of want the shoulders right over the elbows, so shift forward just a little bit more. Good, so that the legs can come up. Yeah, you may be able to go a little bit further with the elbows. Okay, so now once she's up there, she's on an angle. I want a little bit of 12 with the pelvis. Good. Make sure the ribs are connected in that lovely extension there. Good. We want the shoulder blades just slightly coming together, and we want to make sure the belly isn't dropping or bracing too much, that the tail isn't lifting. We're here. We might hold for 3 breaths, and then we can walk back up the hands. Yeah, get a little triceps as we go, and come back. Good. We'll just do that one more time. So nice length through the body. I always really try and focus on my thoracic length when I'm doing these. Yeah. And just making sure I still have that, and then walking it out. And just continually check in. Deep belly on, spine lengthened. Good. Tilting the pelvis. So once we get down there, the tail wants to be up. Yeah. And the ribs connected, and then length. And a little bit of those shoulders kind of coming together, but without losing the ribs. Yeah, so now she's in a beautiful long line. Little bit of work going on here. Yeah. 3 deep breaths. And then let's try and use those arms to come back up and walk yourself back. And then come into a little shell stretch. And just breathe into the back body. Good. Just letting yourself settle there. Not pinching the hips, so give a little bit of space there, but feeling like the tail is going away from the head, the arms are reaching out from the back of the pelvis. And then when you're ready, on your next breath, you can slowly stack your spine up, dragging yourself up to a nice kneeling position. Lovely. And then do what you need to finish off that workout. Thank you guys for joining us. Hopefully that was okay.